Hello and welcome to episode 39 of Pentagon for Gold. It's been a little while since the last episode, and it's been several days since I actually was in charge of Guangzhou Evergrande. And the reason for that is I've had to go almost 2 years without a job on here. I just couldn't quite get the right Liga MX options in terms of the jobs that were available. It was basically all the absolute worst teams, and I wanted ideally to be at one of the top teams, but I've sort of settled for a mid-level team. And I think Santos Laguna could be good. They were expected to get 6th. They're currently 18th, so they're really struggling. As you can see, as recently as 2023, 24, they got 1st in the Apertura. And the way that it works with the Liga MX is there's 2 parts to the season, the Apertura and the Clausura. And it makes it really difficult for managers to actually get sacked because they can do awfully in the first half of the season, then win the league in the second half. And so all the big teams, even the ones, Tigres were predicted to finish 1st and were currently 11th and hadn't won in about 8 to 10 games. And their manager was still stable and secure. So, eventually Santos Laguna came up as an option. And it seemed like the right one to go for. There was also Tijuana were very close to losing. If they'd lost one more game, their manager probably would have gone. But in the end, he won 3 games in a row and kept his job. But I'd say about a similar level from Santos Laguna. The only disadvantage here is we only got a 3-star reputation rather than a 3.5. But I'm sure that won't be an issue because we will be doing our best to raise that in the next couple of years. Looking at our kits, there's not much variation in terms of the colours. It's only black, white or green. So I'm not quite sure how that works. But we have to sign Ecuadorian players, and signing Uruguayan players is preferable. Also have to play high-tempo pressing football, not a problem. And develop players using the club's youth system, as seems to be the case for all Mexican clubs. We're not being judged really on this season apart from the semi-finals for the Copa MX. So let's start the negotiations, and I usually go for a slight increase, and I guess we're probably not going to get much. We might be able to get that. Yes, 9.25, and that should be that. Let's see. I don't know if it'll come through straight away or if we'll have to wait, but let's have a look. We've got it. We are hired, and very exciting. We've replaced Omar Arellano. I'm now 30 in game, and that's a bit scary given that that's many years in the future. And so we haven't been in a job since 2028, the start of 2028 that is. And the Liga MX just threw up a lot of challenges with actually getting into it. Probably a good thing I didn't play on with Guangzhou Evergrande, because I would have been playing on getting mindlessly bored with just playing with the same players over and over again. So here we are as the new manager of Santos Laguna, founded in 1983. We've got excellent training facilities, youth facilities and youth recruitment, which is great. Seems like it's an up-and-coming team. They're not at the top, but they are a decent team. And we've got lots of players. Got 3 players coming in. Lots of players who will be, I don't know if they're on loan away from us. I guess these guys are, and these guys are in. I think our star player, who I believe is Nunez, was actually, he's on loan from America, who seem to have a monopoly over all the best players in the league. So it'll be difficult to try and topple them unless we end up going to America instead. But in the meantime, I think we've got a fun little squad to work with, and won't bother with all of this stuff. Usually do this sort of thing. I won't bother with the advice reports. And we've taken the hot seat, and not many players that will be looking to keep there. Nothing really crazy here. So you've got a terrific group of players going through, which is good. I imagine that probably happens quite a lot in this league because the overall quality of most players in the league won't be that high, but then you'll get very good Mexican players coming through who go to Europe. So we've got a defensive midfielder, 3 forwards, and that includes 1 striker. So that's a decent bunch. Let's hope that they are as good as they are seemingly in this youth intake preview. Well, here is the squad and the tactic for this season. It's pretty much the same as usual, really. It just happens that the teams that I've been playing with all suit this tactic. And 4-3-3 is their preferred formation. We don't really have a great box-to-box. Para and Moreno are more attacking-minded midfielders. And we don't have very good fullbacks, particularly Navarez, who, frankly, is not good enough. We'll be looking to sort that out. Let's see how much we've got in the budget. 3.4 million with 56k. I wonder if we can get some more. No, it doesn't look like we get very much money from these. So, yeah, that's unfortunate. We have not got the greatest players coming in, and all of these players don't seem to suit that. So, it's not ideal, really. There's good news in that we have a coaching license that we're studying to go towards. If I just have a look here, I'm studying for a Continental Pro license. Immediately the board were happy to allow me to do that. Unfortunately, no one seems to want to join because we were so bad in the first half of the season, which isn't great. But I guess that's just the challenge that we've got, and should make it a little bit more difficult than we've had with Cape Town Spurs and Guangzhou Evergrande. Sadly, also, our knowledge of South Africa has completely disappeared, which I didn't realise happened. I thought it was once you were there, you had a rough knowledge of the teams there at least. But we only have 50% knowledge of China, and then some in Switzerland, and then the entirety of England, which is a bit disappointing. And it's going to be pretty difficult to actually improve this squad at the moment. We're going to have to do our own thing, and just work out. If we can get a better performance in the second half of the season, we might get more players who are willing to come, particularly on free transfers, might be useful. But for now, the quality of player that wants to come is lower than anyone in our starting 11, which is a little bit worrying. Given we can't actually make any signings, I'm recalling a couple of players from loan who are seemingly good enough for the first team. This guy, I think, is about the level of our starting wingers, so I might as well bring him back and have him as at least a rotation option, if not our starter. And Jairo Valdez, who, as it happens, can play on the right-hand side, only a 2.5-star wing back, but that's better than our current first option. And actually, some of his mentals look really good. Not his teamwork so much, but all of these ones up here. And so we're basically not signing anyone from the looks of things, but we are able to call these players back, and I think that will really benefit the squad long term. Also got a few players in here in the development centre. I don't think they're quite good enough to actually contribute too much at this point, because we've got a decently sized squad, but we could really do with sorting it out and getting some fresh blood into it, because things like this 33-year-old Brazilian who takes up a foreign slot despite not being very good. What about this guy? He looks quite good, to be honest. I will consider recalling him, and we'll have a look at what happens with that. So he may or may not rejoin the team again shortly. Well, in the end I decided not to. He is at Atalanta, who have decent facilities, same level as ours, so not necessarily going to miss out too much. How much has he played there, perhaps? That will help us decide. 17 games, that's not bad. And if you look at our team report with the squad depth, we've got a lot of 3-star options at right wing, so really probably not the priority position. I'm glad, though, that we've managed to get Jairo Valdez back in, because he can play at right back. I'm not quite sure why they loaned him out when he was clearly their best right back. But so unless things start to go a bit crazy, I don't think we'll be making any signings ourselves. So let's hope that changes. Who knows what's going to happen, really. Well, I can confirm that big changes have been made. Some stuff went down, shall we say. So as you can see, we've now got almost 6 million in the budget. That has come from the sale of Juan David Moreno, who is our key player, but he's only joining RB Bragantino in March. So actually we've got a couple more months of him, which is nice. Nice to not lose him immediately. And we've got a couple of other players that are going, but no one important. Coming in, we've got Antonio Camarina from Chelsea. He's coming in at the end of the season once his contract has expired. He's listed for 1.3 million. and they were trying to get like 2.5 million when I was looking to buy him now, which I'm not quite sure how they've done that. But if you look at it, he's got decent pace and acceleration, fantastic off the ball, decent dribbling, finishing, first touch combos, really good heading, decent composure, and very good anticipation. So I reckon he could be a useful player. And for a free transfer, not bad at all. Looks like he's travelled around a little bit. Started in Mexico, went to Chelsea, on loan to Greece, then South Korea. I'm not quite sure why Chelsea signed him. Doesn't seem like their kind of signing, but yeah, he's a promising player. And then we have a few other signings if we go to our transfer history. Let's see. So I believe, where was the first transfer that we made? So these three were the ones made by the club before I came, and then because of that, it was 9 million sale, I think. It's not gone through yet. If we have a look at the transfer central, it'll tell us again. Yeah, 9 million potentially rising to 10. So we got 5 million straight up, and we used that with Anderson Lara from Millonarios as a centre-back, 17 heading, 16 tackling, 18 bravery, 3.5 star with 5-star potential, so I reckon he could be good. We also got Juan Calderon, who is a right-back who looks pretty well-rounded, to be honest. For this level of football, he should be very good, and he's got 4.5 star potential rather than 5, but he is 3.5 star currently. And the good thing with these guys is they don't cost too much, so we can always just, sell them on in future, replace them with a better foreign player if needs be. But I'm very happy to have them for now. And then Jorge Lopez, who is a Mexican left back, very good acceleration, not quite so good pace, not quite sure how that imbalance has happened, but he is very good with balance and stamina. And then some decent stats aside from that. 3-star is a Mexican left back with 5-star potential, so very happy to have him in. And he actually plays as a wing back. He won't be 3-star when he plays in the role we've got him in, but I think we've made some good signings there, and they've definitely improved the squad, I think. In terms of outgoings, Mateo Coronel, never really likely to be good enough, 2.5 star, 31, and also Argentinian, so he's taking up a foreign slot. And then a few loans have gone out. Ivan Gomez went to Cincinnati, 2-star, never going to be good enough for us. And yeah, the rest of them seem to be loans. And actually, Brandon Santiago we sold as well. I think he was 2-star, maybe 2.5 star when we had him. And he has gone to New England for 500k. So it's actually been quite successful in terms of improving the squad. If we have a look at the squad depth now, pretty much every position has a 3-star player. The only one that doesn't is left back. And that's a position that we'll be looking to improve in the summer anyway. Probably goalkeeper as well. Kevin Humiller, who is our captain, he looks okay, but he's 32. He's a foreign player. I feel like we could probably do with a better and younger goalkeeper than that. So yeah, that is a summary of our transfer window, and now let's head into our first game as manager of Santos Laguna against Querétaro. So for our first game as manager of Santos Laguna, we've gone with a pretty strong squad. Juan Calderon and Anderson Lara both make their debuts, and it should be a pretty strong defence that we've got there. As you can see, all the numbers are quite high because most of them were decided before I came. Juan David Moreno, who is leaving, is playing as the Mazzala today with Ed Aguera as the box-to-box midfielder. Rafael Chan is also a new signing, and I believe Sosa is too, so those guys weren't made by me, but they are decent signings, to be honest. And Marco Medeiros is definitely the best striker we have at the club at the moment. So let's hope that the boys can give us the right sort of performance to get started with our time at Santos Laguna. You never quite know what to expect when you come into a new club, but the boys seem to react well to the team talk, which is good, a good sign, because that doesn't usually happen straight away. Anyway, here is Chan on the right hand side. Calderon into Guerra. It's nice that we start against a team that are arguably the weakest, or one of the weakest in the league. They don't have Ronaldinho anymore, and I don't think he was very good for them anyway, but yeah, they're predicted to be 18th, I think. We were predicted to be 6th, but we were, in the first half of the season we were 18th, so clearly underperforming. But that was a good start to the game from us. Malagon into Olivar for Queretaro. Good block, and now Moreno can counter-attack. Finds a decent looking pass, which eventually is cut out by Acosta. And now De La Cruz. And it's a decent effort there. Keeper looked like he might have been beaten, but it just swept past the post. Castillo into Barreto. Oh, it's a fantastic tackle from Cantu. And now Sosa. Chance to stretch his legs. He is very fast. His cross is blocked. Eventually gets it over again. And somehow it's made its way to Moreno. And Guerra has put it home. First goal of the season for him. And the first goal of my reign. Good start to the game. We've been on top. And yeah, can't really complain too much with this. The boys have started really well. There are likely to be some injuries early on because there's no sort of pre-season. Even though it's halfway through the season, there's no pre-season. So we haven't got the fitness and the shape yet. The main issue is just we haven't played at all recently, and the boys only came back for training a week before this game. So I did schedule a friendly straight away, but most of them are still on red shape, which isn't good. Larea looking to counter-attack. Lara intercepts it well. And Bello stepping in there. Both centre-backs doing a good job today. Medeiros. And he finds Sosa for his first goal for us. That was a great goal all round. Really good work from both defenders. Medeiros did well to hold it up. And Sosa was there to apply the right sort of finish. And now into Moreno. Chan cutting inside, finds Medeiros. And now Calderon's in a ton of space on the right. Sends it in and Sosa's headed it over. Unlucky. Might need to make some subs early on in the second half because we play a cup game in midweek, which isn't great given that we've just not played any games for about 2 months. But I'm sure the players will manage fine, and I'd rather focus on the league than the cup because I'm not sure how close to relegation we are, but I'm hoping that it doesn't come to that. There are certainly some low release clauses in a lot of players if you do get relegated, so thankfully we've started well enough that I don't think that'll be an issue, but you never really know because this is one of the weakest teams we are playing. Olivar. It's a great run from him. Calderon wins it fairly. And now Malagon. It's poor play from the midfielders there, letting it go past them, but eventually it's found its way to Sosa, and now Chan has a ton of space here. Into Medeiros, and he finds the back of the net brilliantly. What a strike. That was a cracking finish from Medeiros. Great goal, great goal. And now Chan. Headed onto the bar by Guerra, and it's now out for a goal kick, but decent effort in the end. Guerra's been mightily impressive, to be honest. Getting a goal, been up and down the pitch well, but I think the wingers have really stolen the show so far. Medeiros again, and Chan, oh that's unlucky. Almost had all of our front four getting on the score sheet in their first game as a quartet. Calderon, who's also been another promising looking player today. Nunez into Guerra. And now Chan, and saved by Juarez pretty comfortably. Probably needed a bit more of a convincing finish there to actually get it past the keeper. And that will probably be the end of that chance. Sosa trying to keep it alive, and the tackle's made by Mateus Bueno. Well, as it stands, we are 4th in the Liga MX Clausura. I think it's time to get Guerra off. Oh, he's just picked up, Nunez has picked up an injury of some kind. Navarez can come in instead. Yep, he can stay as the ball-winning midfielder. Guerra can come off for perhaps Para, I think, is suited to that position, and Rafael Chan can come off for Scalvini. And yeah, I think that's the best way to do it. We can make Scalvini a winger on the right hand side, and that will sort everything out for us. Let's hope that no one else gets injuries or gets too tired to play in the next games. Chan last thing he'll do before he comes off. And Guerra, and that's a poor finish from Guerra. Let's see how we compare in terms of goals. Yeah, so we're 1 goal behind the top team at the moment. But I'm sure they'll have played someone better than Querétaro, I'd imagine. Medeiros. Oh, what a strike. These boys don't look like they've been struggling this season. What a performance. Very convincing. 3.15 expected goals, and we got 4 goals actually in the end. So this has been an immense performance. Let's hope no injuries. But we are currently top of the division. The good news with Mexico is that the transfer window seemed very loose, as Sosa scores another great goal. You can sign a foreign player at pretty much any time, I think. I don't know if it's just for this, because this window is the mid-season one. You seem to be able to sign foreign players at any point, but I'll see what happens with that. I think it'll be a case of each year we'll probably look to get a couple of Mexicans, and then we will sell some of the older foreign players, or the worst ones, and replace them with a young, exciting foreign player from probably Uruguay or Colombia. The board want us to sign Ecuadorians, but I mean, there's not really that many good ones, so I guess we'll see if that's actually possible. I think if we sign Uruguayans, they'll be happy enough. And a free kick for Querétaro to round off the game, and it's not. Oh, he's hit it straight out for a goal kick. That was not a good free kick, but what a performance. That's a great start to our time here. I wonder if it's a new manager bounce, but very impressive performance all round. And we've got Necaxa in the cup in a couple of days' time. But we will be playing the next league game, which is against Toluca, who were, I think, one of the clubs that I was potentially interested in going to, but never got round to. No issues for Victor Nunez, only 1 to 3 days. Sosa made an instant impact. He was brilliant, and looks like we're getting some more money for Bello. I'm not sure who that is, but we will have a look shortly. But yeah, what a performance, really. That was an immense start to my reign. Today's game against Deportivo Toluca follows a really rubbish performance against Necaxa in the Cup. We lost 2-0 at home. It was with our backup squad, to be fair, but they just looked utterly awful. So hopefully it's just a case that our backup squad is not particularly strong and our first 11 is pretty good. I suspect that's probably what is the case, but it was really, really rubbish, that performance. So we've gone back to our first 11 today. The only issue is Victor Hugo Nunez is a little bit injured, so he's on the bench today, and as a result, Jairo Valdez keeps his place from that game against Necaxa, but he wasn't really the issue in that game. So let's hope that we can put that game behind us and get a good win here. No chances in the first 10 minutes for either side. A bit early to complain too much about that. They're going for quite a defensive formation, the 4-1-4-1. Trejo into Sosa. Just realised I've played Trejo rather than... I can't remember what his name is, my first choice striker. They keep suggesting to put... Yeah, so Medeiros I'd prefer to be playing, but I keep getting suggestions to play Trejo instead. Not quite sure why. It's been a pretty rubbish start to the game from both teams. Very little goalmouth action. Ayala into Ladron de Guevara. Good name, that. And he sends it in, and Zamora, and it's clipped the bar. Humila looked like he would have claimed it if it had been underneath the bar, but you never really know, to be honest. Noe Cantu into Guerra. And now Valdez. Oh, that's awful from Valdez. What are you doing? There's absolutely no need to do that. Thankfully, Guerrero can't take advantage. But it's been a bit disappointing so far, this performance. Not on the level of that first game. Guerrero's a bit demotivated, but you know, I think everyone else is happy with. They realise that it wasn't particularly great. very little created at all this game. I think time we get Sosa off, and probably Moreno as well. We can't get Sosa off because there's no options on the bench. That is unfortunate. There we go, that'll do. And I can't believe we don't have a single player capable of playing left wing. I guess Sosa's going to have to stay on. Trejo, once again, he's been awful, so we'll get him off the Medeiros. Trejo is also on a bit of a run of not scoring. Apologies for that, there was a slight interruption, but we continue this game. Still 0-0, still basically nothing happening. We don't have any options to bring off the bench really, which is not good. I guess Cordoba can come on for Rafael Chan. A bit of a downgrade to be honest, but yeah, I guess that's going to have to do. Come on lads. Don't know whether to go attacking or not. I think I will. You know, might as well go for it. Let's hope it doesn't cost us. Cordoba heads it clear, but it's only made its way to Fernandez and now Roman, and they've got in behind the right back here. Good block, but another chance for Zamora to send it in, and oh, we've lost it. Good cross from Zamora into Rollheiser, and yeah, I'm feeling a lot less confident than I was when we were winning 5-0 in that first game. But we can still rescue a draw here. Can too. Still holding on to the ball, but he eventually loses it to Guerrero. Valdez though, and Medeiros. What a finish! Medeiros seems to be pretty much the only striker we have that can score. What a strike that was. That was emphatic in the extreme. Surely we can't go and win this now. Lara into Valdez, Nunez. Players do seem to be pretty tired. Oh, Sosa's lost it. That's a poor touch from him. Oh no, and now Guerrero has a chance. What? I'm sorry, that is not a penalty. That can't be a penalty. What? What an awful decision. Come on, Hammerla. Oh, yes, lad. Cracking goalkeeping. Good save. Stayed firm down the middle. And you know what? I'll take a draw from this game. There were moments where it didn't look like that was going to happen. And yeah, so we've got a loss, a win and a draw in our first 3 games. But in the league, we are on 4 points, which currently has us 4th, which isn't awful, you know. Could be worse, provided we just finish in a decent position. It doesn't matter too much what happens. We don't need to be winning the league at this point. I think this is going to be a slightly longer time period that we're actually at the club than with Guangzhou Evergrande, unless say the America job becomes available, which I don't think is likely because there aren't many jobs that are available in Mexico unless it's a team that's just last place in the division. America have won 1 and lost 1. Wow, they lost 3-0 to Pumas and beat Tijuana 6-3. So yeah, we've started okay. Could do with more performances like that first game, but you don't always get that, and that's okay. So as we head into the next few months, I'll probably come back in March once we've lost Moreno, so that's probably the last you'll see of him, and probably for that Cruz Azul game and perhaps Cancun or Atletico San Luis, because then we've got a big team and a small team, so it should be a good, well-balanced episode. Anyway, if you have enjoyed the first episode of our Mexican adventure, please do leave a like and subscribe to the channel as it really helps me out. And in the meantime, I hope to see you next time, but have a great day.